Okay, so it's been kind of a while since I have done one of these, but I wanted to get back into it. Couple things have changed since the last one, which was almost a year ago, I guess now. So this is not going to have as much of a structure as it did before. Kind of just going to go through and I think in the future I'll probably have topics that I want to go over, or just things like that. But I think for right now, really, this is just going to be kind of a catch up in terms of like what has happened since the last time I did one of these, just for the record. So, where I was at the last time I did one was I was about to graduate school. I was living in Austin, and I was doing kind of some software stuff for a like a fitness company. Um, Nothing serious, but I was kind of just helping them out, and it was really more of a side project kind of thing. And nothing huge came out of that. My sister ended up leaving that company as well, which kind of she was actually working there, and I was kind of just helping them out. So nothing crazy came of that, but I think it was good experience, and kind of got some. It was just a fun project to undertake. I learned a lot, not necessarily like in the software development world, but I learned a lot in terms of just like fitness stuff, and it was very like cutting edge kind of fitness stuff that we were doing there. So it was really cool in terms of like lifting and staying healthy, and like how your body is supposed to move, and kind of just things like that, which would be interesting to really get into in the future. But yeah, so that was kind of where I was at. I think the last time I did one, so I was double majoring in computer science and math. Ended up graduating, and um, I mean, it depends on when the last time I did one of these was, but so I ended up going to, I think it was before, because I think that's what stopped me. Uh, so I ended up getting an internship for it was a finance internship. Um, so moved to New York City for the summer. I lived in the financial district. Um, did the internship the entire summer. Uh, Super fun. Learned a ton. Really cool experience. I had literally never been to New York before. That's not true. I'd been one time when I was like 8. So I had basically never been to the city before. Didn't really know anybody, so kind of just picked up and moved up here for the entire summer. So it was really cool. I had no financial experience at all. I wasn't necessarily tasked with doing financial stuff. It was software development stuff and quantitative tasks, things like that. So very cool. Definitely a learning experience. I think that would kind of be an interesting thing to go over, because that definitely translated to where I'm at now. So I'll kind of start with where I'm at now, what I'm doing now, and then we can kind of go back, I guess, to the route that how I was able to get here since then. So I am a quant at a financial firm here in Manhattan, in New York City. I moved from downtown Austin to I live in the West Village in New York City now. Very cool area, the city. I like it a lot. Definitely a good kind of transition. It's very quiet here, so good transition from smaller city Austin to New York. I think living in Midtown or something would have been pretty crazy, very loud, just kind of a little bit overwhelming. I think if I was there, just for the foreseeable future going forward. So living scenario wise, I think it worked out extremely well for me. Got super lucky with the apartment. It's a great spot, great location. I really, really like it. Work wise, so I am a quant. I'm doing primarily predictive analytics and machine learning engineering and data science and things like that. Um, I think it would be interesting to kind of go over some of those projects and what I do, more in depth, kind of in a future one of these. I don't want to get super deep into that right now, but as far as the future goes, I think that would be a good topic to cover. But overall, predictive analytics, machine learning, working with huge data sets. So, very, very cool projects. Just kind of an over. Right now, I'm doing a loan outcome prediction model. So we're modeling, what the termination event of a loan is going to be, whether it will see it through to maturity or default early. What kind of different options there. And then also a excess return model. This one's kind of interesting. It's a more of like a hedge fund style, like alpha generation model. So predicting the delta between holding like treasuries versus mortgage-backed securities. So those are kind of the main projects that I've been working on. But super, super cool stuff. I love the work. I love the firm. The people I work with are great. It's just super challenging, but it's right on the precipice of being attainable. So that's really, really cool to kind of be in that spot. And I've been in that spot since I started here. So really, really just it's cool to kind of be in that spot where something is like just hard enough to be extremely challenging, but also attainable. Because if you find that sweet spot, you learn and improve so much. And then I've been fortunate enough to be in that spot for over a year now, which is just absolutely crazy. So right before I stopped making these was because I moved up here. The main kind of thing, well, let me back up a little bit. So I got the internship, moved up here, and it was not for like what I'm working on at all. It was just, I mean, kind of somewhat similar, like adjacent. It was really just for like programming stuff and kind of just basic level programming. But really, my main task was to document, like provide documentation for the entire software for the largest wing of the firm, like more than half of the firm, probably 75% of the firm probably uses this software. It was massive. It had been in development since the 90s. It was written in VBA and Access, and they had no documentation on it. It was just purely in like two people's minds, like the architect, and then they had several different actual developers over the lifespan of the software. But the only documentation was in the software architect's mind. So I had to go through. It ended up being a couple 100,000 lines of code, and literally document it all. Let me. Well, I can't show it because it has the firm's name on it and everything. But well, I'll grab it. Okay, so this is the documentation. Covered the name of the firm, but this is 211 pages. I wrote all of this in a summer to document, what the database does, all the data flows, the linking between different data sources, different engines that kind of provide the facilitation of moving data around. So that was my summer internship project, and it was definitely just a kind of a throwaway task that it was just, oh, we have an intern, like we need to give him something to do type of thing. But I was able to actually complete that, which I think that they were surprised about, and I think that they had people attempt this before, and were not successful with it. So, or just couldn't see it through because it was a ton of work. It took me 2 months to do, three, 2.5, 3 months maybe. So it was a very, very cool project. I learned a lot from it because the software was molded around the entire business. So, through learning the software and what the software did and why, I got to learn how the business worked. So I got a lot of external context, even though I was just looking at this software. So that was really, really cool. And what kind of came out of that, so obviously, if you're doing an internship, and this was before my senior year of college, uh, if you're doing an internship, you're obviously looking for a return offer. That's kind of like the goal of the whole thing. So so the internship kind of comes to a close. I get through with that project. I have, maybe 4 or 5 weeks of the internship left, and I'm trying to get on different projects, kind of just do things that I am much more interested in than just documenting software. So I kind of get involved with a couple different projects, and I think that people kind of started to, at least notice that I was kind of capable of doing things and I had a different skill set where, people think like financial stuff is super impressive or super, you know, complex, or you got to be very smart to do it. But it's kind of funny. It's, and people who work in finance are extremely intelligent, but they kind of, I think non-technical people have kind of this reverence for, people who can code or people who know like AI is like the big buzzword. So I did like a little rag project for, the last few weeks of my internship. And that's like, so when I gave my final presentation to, a large majority of the firm on what I did, most of it, so most of my presentation was on the documentation that I did because that was, the majority of what I spent my time on. Most of the conversations around, what I was doing ended up being around this, kind of throwaway like side project that I did at the end just because I kind of thought it was interesting, and I got to work with some different people doing that. So it's kind of interesting like how I almost just timed it perfectly. So that ended up working out pretty well in terms of my visibility to the rest of the people at the firm. And my boss kind of picked up on, you know, a lot of people I think look down on interns or just don't think that they're, capable or, whatever it is. So kind of interesting, but I think my boss at the time kind of picked up on the fact that I was a hard worker and was able to, start a task and see it all the way through and complete it. And they'd had people be assigned this documentation project before and not finish it, or, whatever the case was. So I think me actually completing it and giving them, really exactly what they wanted, did a lot for, my reputation with people that were going to be able to help me out in the future. So what ended up coming from that, like I mentioned, I'm a quant now. Uh, Everybody on my team has either a PhD in math, there's one PhD in economics, or masters in physics, things like that. I'm an undergrad, and I'm on this team, which is, super, super cool. I'm unbelievably blessed to be able to be doing some of this stuff. But it all came out of doing this project that I was not that was not related to what I'm doing at all. So what ended up happening was my boss, who is a math PhD, kind of saw like, oh, this kid is smart, he's capable, he, whatever. Um, so he started tutoring me. So he sent me textbooks, like multiple textbooks. We would meet a couple times a week to go over them, like chapter by chapter by chapter. And they're, it's machine learning textbooks and algorithm textbooks and math textbooks. Like it was crazy, and it was very, very intense. And I think on top of that, my senior year, the first semester of my senior year, I took 22 hours, 22 credit hours, because I was originally computer science major with a minor in math. He kind of told me, my boss was like, if you can get the major, get the major. So it wasn't too bad. It ended up only being like, 2 or 3 extra classes. So the workload wasn't terrible, but I ended up working 22 credit hours my senior year, the first semester, plus working and like actually producing stuff for my internship, plus now also doing very, very high level math that was one-on-one tutoring with a PhD. So it was just unbelievably really lucky, to be honest. Like I can't really attribute it to anything other than that. I just got an opportunity, and luckily I worked hard enough to kind of prove that I was worth investing in, I guess. So ended up working through the fall semester of school and the spring semester, and then graduated and moved up here to New York. So live in the West Village now, commute to Midtown. That's where our office is. Um, Absolutely crazy. Like there's really not anything other than that to say, really. But just to sum it up, kind of never really thought that I would be here. Kind of fell into the whole quant thing, but it's it's been unbelievable so far. I honestly I can't express really, and this is just, nobody's gonna watch this. This is like my genuine thoughts on this. Um, I love the work. I love the people. I love what I'm doing day to day. Like there are days that aren't amazing, but I've been up here full time for like 5 months now, and it's just like I'm unbelievably blessed. And the change is pretty drastic. Never really thought that this is what I would be doing, but that's, I guess that's kind of the update. Nothing more to really say on that, keeping it at this surface level. But yeah, so kind of a big transition phase, but it is really nice. The other thing that's kind of a big transition from when you're in school to working, and I had experienced this before, obviously, when I was working full time before I went back to school. But when you're in school, everything has a timeline, right? Like you have, this many months until the semester ends or until the school year ends, and then you're going to be in this grade or whatever. And it is really nice to be just settled. Like this is where I live now. This is what I do. And there's no, like, this is kind of just, it's what it is. And that I kind of took for granted the first time around, but it is really, really nice being in a position now where that's the case. And I kind of like I'm settled, and I have this thing that I am now, very good at. And it's really cool because I can be just laser focused on that and just get really, really good at this one thing, as opposed to kind of being, a mile wide and an inch deep. So just a cool spot to be overall. I guess really the point that I'm trying to make here is just gratitude overall. But yeah, I'm kind of just rambling at this point. But as far as like how I want to do these in the future, because this is really just it's more of a journal for me. I don't necessarily want to sit down and write stuff. This is just more, I think, I like talking, I like public speaking, and I want to become better at verbally articulating my thoughts and being able to do it quickly. It's a great skill to have. I was talking about this, I know, back, when I was making these before. But so I'm in my work clothes, came home from the office, 10 minutes ago, 15, 20 minutes ago maybe. So I think that that's going to be kind of the plan, where I have a super simple setup now, just filming this on the laptop, got the mic that I can just plug in, and that's kind of going to be the routine that I want to get into. Just kind of walk in, sit down, talk for really however long I need to or want to, and I think it'll be cool. It's a this is, like I said, this is more of a journal for me than anything else. So I think that this is kind of a low barrier way to do these consistently, which I think will be good for me. And if anything else comes out of it, that would be, we'll see. I'm sure a lot of good will come out of it, just in terms of my skill set improving, like speaking and articulating, and I really want to get better at filler words and things like that. So I give a lot of presentations at work. I think I'm very, kind of able to. I'm a pretty personable guy, I would say. I have no trouble talking to people or meeting people, and that's a really good skill to have. And I also kind of force myself to develop the technical skills that I have. And I think that's a unique combination of skills, and you don't find that marriage very often. And like I said, every day at work I'm getting better and better and better at the technical side, and giving all the presentations helps a lot too. But I think that this is just an easy way to kind of further enhance that, and there's all the other benefits of I think it's just good to, like, it'll be nice to be able to go back and kind of see where I was at, and just all these different things. So overall, I think that is going to be the plan going forward. Just kind of walk in, sit down at the desk, and make quick little video just talking about the day, or if there's a topic or whatever. I guess we will see. But yeah, as far as this particular one goes, I think that's kind of all I have for this. But yeah, I think this will be good. So looking forward to doing more.